Welcome back to another episode of the MX Endurance Podcast, where we look at everything that's been happening in the world of endurance sports. My name is Tim Ford, and I'm joined in person by the penultimate legend, the sexy shepherdess, the sexiest voice in triathlon, James Bell, mate. How good is this? We're doing it in person on camera.
Yeah, it's the first time we've ever done an in person on camera, isn't it? We've done it a couple of times in person in Bahrain and in St. George.
Yeah,
but we had no recording.
Stop looking at the camera though. You got to stop looking at the screen. You got to look at the camera instead.
Oh yeah, that's right. Otherwise,
I keep looking down.
I keep looking at myself because I'm
gorgeous.
I'm good to look at.
I mean, I know the comments around Sub7 Sub8 have just been like, "How is James Bell the good-looking one out of the two of them?" And people are going to notice that we actually look very similar because I cut my hair. It's short again.
You did.
I got sick of the nonsense of it being long, mate.
There you go. Here we are, and we're both in Germany.
We are in Germany.
We've been spending. Well, I mean, how fucked are you right now, mate?
I am running on fumes.
Yeah,
if we were to talk to for like 100% being perfectly primed, ready to race, 0% being, I don't know, like after a 200k ride where you haven't fueled properly and you've had a bit of you've bonked, I'm at like 1 or 2% or something at the moment.
Yeah, I would say I'm down in the lower numbers of that scale that you just provided. But here we are, mate, and it's been non-stop, hasn't it, since we got here, trying to get Kat and Joe prepared.
Well, mate, you mentioned it. The fact that Joe Skipper is now doing sub 7.
Yeah.
This happened after we recorded our podcast last week. It has been hectic. Again, for people who don't know, we are Joe's agents, so we were basically a big part of that deal or getting that across the line. It's been a
my final weekend before I left for Germany was meant to be one of spending time with people I was leaving behind and taking them to the beach and, really putting in a bit of effort because I was going to be away for some time.
Yep.
But instead, my phone went at 5 o'clock Saturday morning and it was Chris McCormack and he's like, mate, Joe Skipper's doing sub 7 now, so you got work to do, bro. And we had work to do. And we have arranged it. We've sorted it. He's got paces. He's going to the track. He's ready to roll. He's got his suit made. We had somebody flown to Italy to get the suit made.
Yeah, mate. Well, you know what? We're going to get into all of that detail because there's a lot to talk about. But this podcast is the official podcast of MX Endurance, the world's premier endurance sports community created by 4-time world champion Chris McCormack. Jimbo, what's something you like about MX Endurance?
What do I like about MX Endurance? I like the fact that I saw an MX Endurance suit today on the track. I don't know where that came from. And Sean Green's come to join us for dinner, which would be nice to see him. So I've never met him. So it's quite a small what do I like about MX Endurance this week, mate, because it's an intimate, personal one.
The thing is, I think you make a good point. One of the things I've always said is a real strength of MX is when you can go to events and stuff around the world. It's the ability to travel to a race somewhere and have someone you can catch up with. And I mean, I'm an Australian who's in the middle of nowhere in Germany for a triathlon, and yet I've met up with you, and we have Jenna here, and Shaunie's coming, and Dino's coming,
and not only that,
coming.
It's the opportunities that MX have provided all of us along the road, because without the MX Endurance team, this wouldn't be happening. We wouldn't be here.
Imagine a universe in which this wasn't happening.
Yeah, and Sean Green wouldn't be coming here because he's coming not only as a fan of the sport, but also to work as a mechanic for the weekend. And it's all through the connections we've made through this community. So, and you've finished your beer already?
No, mate. We should point that out. We are actually having a German beer because we are in Germany. So people playing along at home on video can see that. Audio listeners, I promise I won't drink near the microphone because I hate it when people drink or eat on a podcast.
It's slipping down nicely today, though, isn't it? I mean, what a day.
It's been a day. It's
been
a big day. So for people playing along at home, it is Thursday here. So we have just come from... We've been at the track all day. Actually, we're going to talk about all sorts of stuff. Don't expect this is not a regular episode, guys, but we drove the team cars over to the track today, and then I did a hot lap on the track in my team car. I hit 200 kilometers an hour on the track. A good place to start, maybe. Or again, I don't even know how we're going to do this. It's going to be chaos, but is the venue. Now, I've looked at this on a map a lot. I have looked, we have been in meetings about this and everything. And when you hear what it is and you see the photos, you have a rough idea what it is. This thing is next level. I have ridden it. I've done probably 100k on it already, riding my bike.
I haven't ridden on it yet.
Mate, I know. You nearly didn't drive on it either. I'm glad you did.
Yes, but I hadn't appreciated, because we both arrived, didn't we? We arrived to the track at different times.
Yep.
And you turn up and you pull into this car park and you don't really get a glimpse of the scale of it because you don't really cross the track. You kind of you're just in this thing.
You go under a tunnel that goes
yeah,
under
and you don't know where it is. And I said to Maka, I was like, mate, where's the track? And he was like, it's just over there. Oh, have you not been here before? And he walked me over and walked me around. And oh, this looks pretty good. But it wasn't until after you'd done your hot lap and I hadn't that I got in my Tesla and did a hot lap in my EV. That's when you capture the scale of it, and riding up the banking in a car.
I was a bit of a cow.
Oh mate, I was going some to hold it up onto that banking. It was brilliant.
We had to me and Marcus, who's one of the event organisers here, probably the biggest frother for triathlon in the world. We were driving up to the corner we wanted to get a photo of the guys. I put it up as a reel on Phoenix. People have probably seen it. I put the motorbike noises behind it. But I said to him, mate, why don't you just park on the bank? He's like, are you kidding me, mate? Like, do you know how steep it is? I'm like, dude, cars have handbrakes. Like, I'm pretty sure you can park it on a hill. And we get there, I'm like, oh no, I get why you could. This thing is like, it's almost vertical.
Yeah.
You can't walk up it. Like, you couldn't walk to the top of it. You'd slide back down.
Yeah, it's true. And my Tesla went into panic mode. It thinks about stuff that it's doing. So I got it up onto the banking, and alerts were coming up. They were like, auto drive turned off, auto steer turned off, and I was like, what are you doing? You're abandoning me.
What are you doing? You're abandoning me. So that was the morning. I actually went to the swim start this morning, and I did some swims. I swam with Kat and her paces.
Yeah.
I got dropped like a bat. I'm not joking. I'm a what 25, 26, 70.3 swimmer. Like, I can swim. I do my I do fast hundreds in about, I don't know, 1:13. I wasn't swimming that fast today, but I could not actually keep up with their paces. Like, I would jump on the feet of Kat and Ruth, and I would look up 3 strokes later, and I was 10 meters behind them. And then I'd surge to try to catch their feet, and I'd look up, and I was 20 meters behind them. I was like, the fuck is going on here? Like, but the water's like, it's really pleasant
clear,
temperature.
Isn't it? And
it wasn't super clear.
Is it not?
It's a bit, but the more the temperature, because I was
about 19, is it? I reckon.
Yeah, but it was super. Like, once you're in, it was lovely. Like, I actually really enjoyed it. Compared to St. George, where we were a few weeks ago, I tried to swim and it was too cold. Like, actually too cold. It gave me a headache.
Right.
Like, I couldn't even do 1,000 meters. Like, Fernanda, who's coming, Napoleon, as I like to call her, she did like more than me, and she was like, "It's not that bad." I'm like, "It's killing me." Like, I physically could. I did. Yeah.
Aussies, mate.
Yeah, mate. I'm proud of it. Not weak. Like, good weather. Not like you miserable Brits. You're like, this is. Everyone's like, oh, it's so hot today. I'm like, what are you talking about? It's like 25 degrees.
No,
settle down.
Put me in sideways driving rain, and I'm at my happiest, mate. Because I can just moan about it.
I know. I do appreciate the fact you've talked less about the weather on the podcast lately than normal. But so after I was at the swim start, then we drove the 10 cars over. I was in Team Blumenfeld car. The cars look legit. Like,
they do look cool.
Again, it's so weird working on something like this. Like, I've never really worked on an event like this, and my role is varied.
Varied?
Varied.
Yeah, to say the least, bro.
But seeing those team cars at the back of the hotel yesterday, shit's getting real. You know what I mean? Like, you realize, like, this isn't your local triathlon where they're like, oh, just like, this is meticulous. And I mean, when you're walking around the hotel this week and you've got, I don't know, Christian Blumenfeld, Alex Dowsett, Kenyan runners who are running 2:06 marathons.
Yeah, I had to give Dowsett a lift back from the track today to get changed and then back again for a press conference. And he's just cruising along, shooting the breeze with,
I'm curious. I had to give him a lift back.
Yeah.
Is it not a case of you just hovering around him like, oh, Alex, mate, do you need a lift? I'll happily give you a lift.
He was sedated at this point.
Oh, okay.
He drunk the drink
in the
I
boot.
gave.
You've actually got him in the boot. You've chloroformed him. You've whacked him in the boot. And you're like having this nice going.
Off we go, Alex.
Like, oh, James, mate, let me out. I'll have a photo with you, no worries. But even last night at dinner, Robin McEwen just walks down, sits at the table, chats with you.
Better than that today at the track. Robbie McEwen standing next to me and just says, mate, can I borrow your bike to do some laps? And I was like, yeah, fuck yeah, why not, mate?
Even better for me, I was on the track, and guess who I ride up next to is Robin McEwen on your bike, and we ride along for a few hundred meters having a chat.
There you go.
I was like,
would you rather ride with Robbie McEwen on my bike or me on my bike?
Robin McEwen on your bike. You ready for the best part, though? Yeah. So after, what happened when he was analysing your bike? What did he say about your bike?
Oh, yeah, he came back and he was like, your tyre's not bearded properly. Your saddle rails are too small.
It's not getting enough watts through it.
It's not getting enough watts through it. Yeah, it's weak as piss. And he gave me a litany of things that I needed to improve. But I left the bike leant against the wall, and by the time I came back from it, Christian Blumenfeld's mechanic had said, I heard what he said, so I fixed most of it for you.
I was going to say, though, so what was good about being on the road with him is, as I was on my new speed concept, he looks in and he's like, mate, that's a sweet setup. I was like, thank you, Robert McEwen. You're right. This is a sweet setup. My bike is sexy. And yeah, just hearing that from, Robert McEwen, it was a good moment, mate.
Well, there you go.
I'll admit that I did pull away from it at the end because, that power.
Yeah, well,
No, it's honestly, and I'm not it's very bizarre just having these people that you respect and you I guess idolize, or they're almost not real to you, like just being everywhere.
I think this is amplified. This weekend/week is amplified by the fact we have not as a team or as a business come together for last time I saw Macca was Malta 2019 because of Super League. And that's the last time I saw Will McCloy, MG, last time I saw anybody here. So we haven't come together as a business or a team for so long that you're suddenly not only finally meeting up again and getting some team time, but also at the event that you've been focused on for the last however many years, which was, again, came out of Bahrain, which in 2019 was actually the last time I saw Macca and the last time I saw you before COVID.
Yeah, before COVID.
And so something that was birthed just before COVID took place and we're finally here, it's been quite intense, isn't it? Sort of getting...
Yeah, and I mean, the other thing as well, like, so we went to St. George and stuff. We caught up in St. George. I went to Norway earlier this year, but you're right. There's something very, like, and I am completely aware COVID's not over, but this is the most, like, normal thing I've done in a long time, where you're right, Mac is here, you're here, Jenna's coming, Sean's coming, Will's here. Like, all these people that I know, and then, like, Christian, Joe, like, we've managed Kat Matthews for over a year, Joe Skipper for, 6 or 7, 8 months at this stage. This is the first time, I've met Kat in person in St. George, but, like, just having them around is, it's honestly for me, and people give me a hard time that I'm a bit of a tri geek, and I happily wear that badge on my chest. It's like tri geek paradise for me, mate. Like,
yeah, it's like Triathlon Disneyland.
Yeah, it really is.
But I mean, I think in St. George we were all being very cautious because we'd flown in and we had a bit of a throaty thing, and it was the first time everybody been together. It was the World Championships. Everybody was being super cautious about, getting together, and it was still a bit standoffy here and there. In this event, it feels like it's normal. It doesn't feel like anything.
But it's intimate.
Yeah,
it's intimate that you don't get that experience at a big event because there's 44 athletes and there's probably 3 times the staff. Like and the thing I'm really enjoying is that you go to breakfast and, like, you see the teams together, and because obviously we're sort of in Team Matthews and Team Skipper now, like, it's I don't even it's a very different experience, and it's
and at the track, because at the track setup, where the pits would be, they've given the teams half a pit each, so you've got both the Team Skipper and Team Matthews in sharing one pit, Team Spirig and Team Blumenfeld sharing another pit, and they're right next to each other.
Yeah.
So everybody's all in the same place all day. So you see people coming in and out. There's different conversations taking place. It's a really massive event, but an intimate feel.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot. Again, I apologize to everybody who's listening or watching along because this is a little bit all over the place. I think
I think
we're in it. We're in the thick of it.
All of our tension and stress is coming out into a microphone right now, isn't it?
But, like, there's so many things, like the first time that, for us as fans, we've spoken a lot on the podcast about that sort of Joe Skipper, Christian Blumenfeld, like, rivalry or whatever you want to call it. Like, that part is so good. And, like, I was there the first time Joe and Christian came face to face. Like, I saw that. And, like, there's been these moments where Kat and Nicola have, like, caught up for the first time and stuff, and I've seen it. And, like, even just little things, like, you see these moments between athletes and pacers, or we've had Joe's team talking about Christian's team's bikes. Like, the rumor that, Christian's team aren't actually going to ride the KDX bike because it's too slow. So Joe's like, well, I'm going to put that out there because if they then don't ride it, we're all going to know the reason. So we have to force them to ride these. But, like, there's been these moments that, like, it's just, for me as a fan of this, like, as a fan of this, I am a true fan of this sport. I love this sport so much. Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, and today we all went to the track, didn't we? And they were doing various testing. You're looking at Joe's team going round and round and round, and then they had a press conference, and the press conference was at 3:30. All 4 athletes with their sort of lead pacer sat next to them, taking questions from Will McCloy. Also Sebastian, Marka, and Wojciech there as well, giving a bit of a talk. And it was immense. I think listening to the athletes and how they're going to go about it. Listening to Alex Dowsett say that it's not really a rivalry when you've only got one team that's going to win.
Yeah, it was good, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was a good answer. That
I think the thing I find, I've seen. So for full disclosure, I'm on the Pho3nix socials a lot. There's like a big part of what I'm doing here this week is the Pho3nix. Any reel, most of the content you've seen has been pushed out by me, and I've seen a lot of the discourse. I've seen a lot of people saying, "Oh, this isn't a fake event, or it's not real, or fucking drafting, or it's not against." And I know people have given us responses, and I understand all of that. But I mean, watching what these we're not talking about a peloton of athletes, and you've got Christian and Joe just sitting on the back, fucking sipping a latte. Like these are proper pace. Like if you can't get excited by this, because if you can't see past the drafting,
don't watch it.
No, it's not. I feel bad for you. No, like legitimately, because I have been on that track. I have heard. I was riding, so I put up a reel. Check out the Pho3nix page, and I put the choo-choo train, jump on the Norwegian hype train. So I saw them coming, and I thought I'm gonna like I want to catch them, so I need to pick up my speed. So I'm on my bike, pushing it. I got up to 50k an hour. Pull out my bloody phone. I'm riding at 50k an hour because this track is so good. Got a tailwind. It's not on me. I'm not that good, and I'm filming them. And they fucking went past me like I was standing still. And we're not talking, like I said, this peloton. This is a well-oiled train of precision.
Yeah, this isn't just a case of, they go fast because they're drafting. They're going fast because they're leaving no stone unturned. And each bike team is made up of some of the best time trialists in the world. And they are working together, and they are taking this so seriously.
For example, I think this is the perfect example. So for people, obviously, we're going to talk about Ali pulling out. But Joe comes in. We were here. I welcomed Joe at the hotel. First time I met Joe at the hotel. Ali's team, the first thing they did is they took Joe's bike and they said, what do we need to change on this bike to save every watt possible? So we've got ceramic speed chain. They've got the oversized pulley arrived today. They like every little thing that they can do to get the free speed is done for Joe. And again, shout out to that team. The fact that they thought they were going to be riding for the two-time Olympic champion. They've trained for a long time for that. And to have Joe, who was part of that team, that's I think why it sort of worked.
And a shout out to Ceramic Speed as well for dropping everything and sending us a load of stuff.
But the way that they have welcomed him in has been a sight to behold. But like what I'm getting at is like this is you don't let your dislike and if you're listening, you're one of those skeptics, or you're watching, you're one of those skeptics. I assure you, this is a feat of excellence because. We've spoken to some of the guys riding this. We've spoken a lot about it, actually. They don't know what that third hour is going to be like.
No.
Because there has never been, in the history of it, like in team time trials, don't go for 180 kilometers. And they're talking, Joe's team reckon they can do 55 kilometers an hour average. But they don't know what that third hour is going to be. Like, I just can't emphasize, if all you can focus on is the draft element of this race, you're missing out on what is going to be a demonstration or an exhibition of the highest performance.
Yeah, because ultimately World Tour Team Time Trials don't go for 112 miles,
not even
180
close,
kilometers. Mate. Exactly. And so you've got some of the best World Tour riders in the world lining up for this. But they are taking a step into the unknown when it comes to pushing themselves to that level in a team time trial, in a pace line for 3 hours. So when they go into that third hour, you're walking into the unknown. And it's going to be interesting to see how that transpires.
Even the different dynamic between the athletes, like so. There's the sort of the word around town, I suppose, is Joe's team. I mean, Christian. I know you listen, Christian. I know you listen.
He does. He listens, but he talks a lot as well, doesn't he? Those Norwegians.
But yeah, those Norwegians say a lot of things. I think the word around town is we expect Joe's team on the bike to be stronger than Christian's team. But what Christian keeps saying in response to that is, yeah, but what's that going to do to Joe's legs? Like Christian is going to ride a very fast bike, but he wants to back that up with a 2:20 marathon. And I heard him in the press conference today. He's like, so I know I ran 3:35 in St. George at Silly. Take out the hills, 3:30, 3:25. If I need to push, 3:20 pace.
Doesn't work like that though, does it? You know, and we know it doesn't work like that.
Though.
Fine, it could, but we know it doesn't work like that because when you're talking about improving a marathon time, it's not a case of there's no hill, so it takes this amount off. The effort to improvement ratio gets narrower and narrower.
He's also got two paces who can run a sub 2:10 marathon with him. Like who literally said to us that we'll be able to tell him everything he needs to know.
That's fine, but if he can run a 2:20, then he's won. In my mind, because Joe can run a what?
Too low.
high
Low-
238.
Yeah, I reckon 237 best case
Yeah.
scenario.
So he's got 17 minutes.
Again, we
on
know
him.
you listen to Joe.
I
We
don't
love
see
you.
Joe's bike team putting 17 minutes into him, but I genuinely don't think Christian Blumenfeld will run a 220. Love you, Christian. I do, mate. You're a legend. But
He is going to say when he has done it on
Yeah,
Sunday,
yeah,
he's going to
I
be like,
know.
"You didn't think I could do this."
first thing he said to me when he crossed the line in Utah was, I wasn't one of your picks. First thing he's going to say to me here is, you didn't think I could run a 220.
I do
when he
appreciate
did.
again. It's weird. But we're talking directly to you now, Christian.
Yeah.
That he quoted us in his interview for Pho3nix. I thought that was I was like, I appreciated that.
And did you notice last night when we were doing the interview for the podcast and we asked him the question, did you notice that as he walked away, he just whispered in my ear, "You know it's you, James."
Do you know that he sent me a message last night on Instagram?
Oh,
And
really?
he's like, "I know I whispered in James' ear,
That's just
but
so he
in
didn't.
reality, I just didn't want him to feel cute because Timmy, you are in fact my favorite."
You're ruining the question there. You just ruined the question that we haven't put in the podcast yet.
We're not putting it in the podcast because that's for members.
Oh, it's
only.
for members
So
only.
that's a good point to say. We did say this.
Yeah.
We are going to do some really good stuff this week, and we have. We sat down with a plethora. I'm using plethora a lot this episode. A lot of we had all the athletes, some of their paces, some incredible people, and that's going to be a members only episode that's coming out around the same time as this.
Yeah, we've got. I mean, we're dithering on a little bit on this one, I think, but we've got a very, very well constructed members only podcast, which has got interviews with all of the main players in the race, but also some very interesting additional special
So
guests.
who we
that
got? We got
found.
Mark Matthews,
Mark
captain
Matthews.
of Team Matthews. We have who else do we have?
Well,
Alex.
Alex Dowsett
Alex
came in and
Dowsett,
joined us for a little bit, didn't
just
he?
after riding the Giro d'Italia.
Just
who
after, yeah, and then
said it
what
was just a good endurance.
Yeah, I
training
said,
session.
oh, so you're back from the Giro. What did that do? And he, well, to be honest, didn't have the best Giro, but it's a really good training block for this.
Who else was there? Was there anyone else? Was it just those six?
Who knows? We Belinda Granger almost joined us, didn't
We'll
we?
get it.
We had
We'll get Belinda. That's fine.
We had to fuck her off because Christian came.
Yeah, Christian Whaley. Sorry, Belinda.
Yeah, sorry, Belinda. Off
You're
you
out.
go. Off you go, mate.
The Olympic champion. I do also love that, and I've noticed this a lot this week when people have been talking about Christian. It's like the current Ironman world champion, the current Olympic champion, the current Ironman world record holder, and he's like, and
Yeah,
WTCS world champion.
yeah, that's right. WTS series winner. So what I think we should do now is probably put the press conference in, shall
No,
we?
I think that's ages away. to
Is
be
that
honest. I have
ages
so
away?
much more I want to
All
talk
right,
about
right.
before that.
Give us a top. What we need is
No,
to.
I still want to talk about. I want to talk about the Alistair Brownlee thing.
All right, we need
because-
to anchor this around a couple of topics because at the moment
It's
we're dithering.
We're rambling.
dithering.
Let's talk about Alistair Brownlee.
Okay.
So, I think everybody heard that he withdrew from St George, and I know internally there was a lot of concern. Does that mean he's not going to do this race? And I know that some of the conversations we were having with brands was like, is Alistair doing it? Are some of the brands who'd already signed it, is Alistair doing it? Every word, every report was, he's doing it. His team has told us he's doing it.
Yeah, I think it's a really unfortunate happenstance, which is not a word I use often.
It's a good word though.
Yeah,
Very British.
his withdrawal from this race has followed St George because there's obviously going to be a rumbling out there that he was something happened to him at St George.
I've also had that I've said that exact thing.
Yeah, exactly, and
Yeah.
I was the same. But every report we're getting is that this was something new that came on very suddenly, and they let the race organisation
Can we
know
talk
as soon
about
as
the
possible.
fact that we know somebody who knows him really well is here? And
Yeah. So I went swimming with Joe and Gordon Benson and Bucko the other day, and he was.
meaning somebody maybe lives with him.
Oh yeah. Forgot. Yeah, I forgot about her. I was like, he's talking about Mark Buckingham, isn't he? But yeah, Mark was telling me that Alistair is absolutely shattered that he's not here,
and that's what
because he's been working on this for years. It was an
it
opportunity.
was his
to-
idea.
Yeah,
It was
exactly.
his idea, and that's the thing. Like even myself, I think that when we heard this, so again, full disclosure, we got the news obviously as Joe's agents. We were looped in pretty early about what was happening, and I remember when I eventually spoke to you about it, I was like, "This is it, mate." And I know people joke that I say this too much, but like, the criticism is he gets injured too much, and he's injured again. And I thought maybe I don't. Now that everyone says I say it too much, I don't want to say it, but like.
I genuinely, you rang me, and I have never heard a tone of voice from you like that before. And you're like, James, I need to tell you something really serious now. I was like, fucking hell, Tim's ill. He's ill. He's dying. But it turns out Alistair Brownlee was pulling out a sub-7, which is a real shame. But I'm glad you're still here, mate.
I am.
You made it through.
I might not survive this week, to be honest, if things keep going the way they are. But I am here for now. But like, yeah, look, I was gutted. Like, I have been very much. I am one of those people that I believe Alistair Brownlee. I mean, I admit I'm very influenced by Chris's opinion because Chris is fucking 4-time world champion. Like, he knows what he says, and I genuinely sort of, Alistair Brownlee is like one of the greatest to ever do this sport, but we haven't seen him unlock that potential at long course, and I believed
since 2016 he hasn't done a huge amount.
But I really felt like this was going to be this was what we were going to see him do it here, and the fact that he got injured again after he had the bad ankle injury last year, this one, and again, it's a stress response.
Yeah.
So it's not a stress fracture, but it sounds like I don't really understand it, but it just means to me that maybe we aren't going to see Alistair Brownlee.
In my mind, it went like this, because I was like, this is going to be banging. Brownlee versus Blumenfeld, the two
Olympic champions.
Olympic champions going up against each other, seeing what they can do, both working with different types of strategy. Then when Brownlee said he was out, and I heard about it, I was gutted, and I was like, well, what does that do to the men's race? But then when it's added a totally different dynamic having Joe come in, and I wasn't sure. I know we represent Joe. I wasn't sure what it was going to do as a fan for me. To be like, right, well, I'm going to get well behind this, but what am I going to think as a fan of this? Am I going to be as excited? And now I am as excited because Joe's coming in and people are doubting him. The team has rallied around him, and it feels like an underdog story. It feels like Rocky IV. Yeah. The Russian is cut, mate, and it's a bad cut.
I really want to give Joe some love, and again, like, listen, take it with a grain of salt, whatever you like, but I think that Joe has showed an incredible amount of bravery. And I spoke about how I was so inspired or impressed by Lionel's performance at the Tri Battle, where Lionel knew, like, if anybody thought Lionel Sanders was going to beat Jan Frodeno, like, get the fuck out of here. Lionel Sanders was never, ever. He would have had to have his best ever day, and a lot of things would have had to go bad for him. Like, Jan did have a lot of things go wrong. But I was like, that race was the race where I was like, fucking how good is Lionel Sanders? I mean, I've always been a fan of Lionel's despite what people think. But that race really, like, won me, like, endeared me to Lionel Sanders because he knew what he was going into and he still fucking did it. And I see and while I actually have every faith, I am convinced, whether I'm wrong or not, I think Joe is going to break 7 hours. I really think he is. But to go into it with a week's notice, after having had COVID, just coming back to train up against Christian fucking Blumenfeld.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a lot of athletes who would have just been like, yeah, let's do it.
I agree with that. I think Joe is a very special kind of athlete in the sense that he just went, oh, yeah, fuck it, I'll give it a go. Why not?
I love it, man.
And I love that. But I believe Lionel Sanders believed he could beat Jan Frodeno.
Really? I don't.
Now, I don't. As an outside observer, I didn't believe Lionel Sanders could beat Jan Frodeno. As an outside observer, I believe Joe Skipper can beat Christian Blumenfeld. I believe it's not a case in my mind of mano on mano.
Of course,
it's a case of team on team. And what I'm seeing, I know Matt Bottrell's amazing, but what I'm seeing with those Boris bikes,
Alex Dowsett.
What I'm seeing with those Boris bikes, mate, I just look at what Joe's gonna do. And I think, he can put enough time into Christian. He's going to lose time on the swim, presumably.
He will.
I believe he can put enough time on Christian, making up that deficit and then put enough time on him to make it. And I want a sprint finish, mate. I want a sprint finish.
This is, again, when I was talking about this at the start. And I know we're going back to sort of rambling around a little bit. But, like, that's what I've always enjoyed about this event is I love triathlon. But I've watched, at this stage, hundreds of races, which is everybody doing their own thing. And what... The aspect of this race that I never expected to get as excited about as I am is the role of the teams. And I think that's what... I swear, on Monday, after this race is over, the thing everybody's going to be talking about, and I've spoken about this, about how I want to start seeing team triathlons, like in a Tour de France, where you have a group, and it's draft legal, but I think that's what's going to be the difference. And that, to me, is why I also agree, I think Joe could win this. Now, I don't. If I'm honest, Christian is my pick.
You're right,
but I still think I'm not going. I watched the lead of the Tri Battle. There is literally there's no odds you could have given me.
I agree. I agree.
Whereas this one,
and we can be split on this because I genuinely think that we're going to see an underdog take it. on Sunday.
And I would love it.
I think I might explode.
Like it is, you know, you talked about the dip.
Yeah.
And I think that sums it up perfectly because, again, for me, it was, fuck, Ali's out. God, yeah, like I really wanted to see it. But then it was like, Joe's in. Firstly, amazing, our athlete. Again, if you're listening, pro athletes, this is what happens when you're represented by Manor.
Yeah.
But it was this like, it's almost like the fairy tale started. And again, you think about the fairy tale started because of this event. It was Joe Skipper as a member of Ali's Pacer team calling out Christian's team saying that they wanted to fucking crush them, that got Christian to respond about the hype. Like, this whole thing was because of this
the
event.
Norwegian hype train. And I think, if I'm honest, when I was in Girona with Joe, and I'm going to, forgive me, everybody, if I'm wrong on this, but I believe the person who came up with the term Norwegian hype train was James Bale. Now, you're right about the Pacer team and the role of the teams being really important. I think it's easy to depersonalize this, and I was guilty of that. I depersonalized it. I was like, oh, it's just they're going to have pacers and they're going to have pacers and they're going to have pacers. And I thought these pacers are just entities that we're going to be pacing them. When you're here on the ground, you see the personalities of these pacers and the level of thought that's going into it and the different opinions and the arguments they're having about how they're going to do things.
Or even who's going to be on the team.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, we're Thursday night and they don't know.
No.
They haven't finalized their Pacer team because like there's arguments. There's actual arguments about how this should work. Does Joe go 2 swim pacers who can also run, or does he go 1 swim pacer, 1 designated run, and 8 cyclists, or does he drop one of the cyclists? The conversations are intense. Like it's honestly it's the seriousness or the dedication that we are seeing from those pacers. They want to fucking crush this, mate. Like, they want to destroy each other. That alone excites me. And that's what I was sort of saying. Like, I think the fact that we've had this dialogue this year between Joe Skipper and Christian, and it's the fairy tale. And people know I love a fairy tale. The fact that through unfortunate circumstances, we now have Joe and Christian mono, but in this different situation where there's not a world title on the line, and it is different, I understand. It's fucking perfect, mate.
Yeah, it's good fun, isn't it?
It's perfect.
It's good fun.
And the dynamic between the two of them, every time we've had those two together this week.
They're good fun with each other.
Again, the charisma, the chemistry between those two is phenomenal. They bounce off each other so well. And it's the sort of stuff I love in triathlon, because I don't like the let's be mean, let's fucking have a go. I don't like that stuff. Whereas these guys are ripping into each other, but it's done.
With a glint in the eye and a wink and we know that, like you say, there's a dark side to triathlon on the internet.
Slow twitch.
With people that are too quick to savage and to put down.
Like this event, for example.
Yeah, exactly. But I think when you look at the minutiae of it, which is another word I don't use often.
I use minutiae a lot, mate.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know this about me, but I'm pretty fancy.
Yeah.
I'm a fancy boy. I'm a big fancy boy.
You have a fancy aura about you.
Aura.
But it's going to be banging. I think we need to spend some time focusing on the women's side.
Oh, we're going to. Don't worry. I have lots of thoughts.
Okay.
I really just like it is. It is. I think this race is going to be. I genuinely thought Alistair was going to win. Like, again, I'm sorry, Christian. I thought Alistair was going to win because.
How many times does Christian Blumenfeld need to prove us or you wrong before we just go, yeah, fuck it, I'm aboard the hype train.
I am on board the hype train. We know Christian. I'm his second best friend, and
belly laugh. Then that was
like, again, we have been like since the start, mate.
Me and Christian were up texting each other till about 2 a.m. last night, just sending winky.
I know you're lying,
mate,
because I know he went to bed much earlier than that. Because unlike you, he was at the restaurant having breakfast very early this morning.
Yeah.
Like I was, because I'm a dedicated person. No, I thought Ali was gonna beat him because, again, he's just done anyway. I don't know what's gonna happen in this race, and again, I talk about this a lot. Like, that's why I liked the thought of St. George. It was uncertain, it was different. It meant that it wasn't the same. Well, we know that the swim is this. On the bike, it's all about this, and the crosswinds are this. And if you're at this point, it's suddenly different. And like we said, Ali was going to have a swim lead over Christian. Joe's not. What's going to happen from that point on, I don't know, and I'm genuinely excited to see it. Like anybody, and again, I don't know whether you listen. Maybe you hate listening to us right now. Give this event a chance. Like,
yeah, we sound. I know. We're straying into the territory of dangerously sounding like propagandists with this event right now because we're here and because this is not. We haven't really planned the podcast. We just thought we'd shoot the shit around the event.
Because I've forgotten about it. To be honest.
I'm fully braced for the comments we're going to get about this episode of like, these boys, they're just there.
Straw something. Straw
manning it. Yeah. They're just fucking sucking up to mana or whatever. We're here, we're on the ground, we're seeing how it's going to play out, and it's worth watching, and it's going to be fantastic.
That's what I want to say. Give it a chance. Like, watch it, and don't. You need to stop thinking of this as an Ironman, because yes, it is the same distance, but they're not trying to say we are a Ironman. This is something different. And
it's Nike Sub 2.
I genuinely want this. I hope, and I've said this on a gag, I hope this starts something.
Yeah.
Because I think this form of racing, watching those guys go around the track in their pace line, the noises they're making, watching it happen. The bikes. Watching the noises. No, the bikes. You probably just popped up there.
I just popped them.
That it's not just a casual group rolling around. Like we are talking about like a very, very high like I love that high performance thing, and I think we are going to see some real high performance in that race.
Yeah, I think the only thing that could dent it is if anybody has a mechanical or a crash or an injury. We want to see the race to the very end.
Correct.
Irrespective of the result, we want to see the very best these teams can get out of themselves and their athletes to the very end of the course.
Let's talk about the women's race.
So the women's race, now obviously Kat Matthews was a late addition, but I'm not sure we can call her a late addition anymore, being that Joe's just stepped in.
I think the definition of late addition
has changed
a lot.
Yeah. Kat Matthews was, I think, still a late addition and still very brave to step up and step into the shoes of Lucy. We know that Kat, as soon as the inception of the event was created, from the inception of the event, she'd said, "Oh, you know what? This is something that I would be interested in and I would be keen on doing. And chaps, if there's ever a chance, then slot me in there." And as soon as that slot became available, we did what we could to make it happen, and it happened. And she's stepped in late-ish. We'll call it late-ish notice now.
No, again, it is exceptional what she's managed to pull off to get.
It really is, because it's a very different circumstance to Joe. And Kat said this in the press conference today, which you can all watch online. Joe has very much novated Alistair's group over to him. And so it's just been a direct slot. There's a couple of tweaks and changes around the edges. But with Kat, she had time, in reality, to completely create her own pacing team.
Based around her.
Her strengths and how she planned to strategize and play it out. She's organically created this team. And she's got, I love spending time amongst that group, mate, because they are such a close-knit, cohesive
there's
unit.
An infectious energy.
Yeah. You feel like Kat is the leader, and they are rallying for their leader. And it's inspiring. It makes you want to go, you know what? I'll take a turn on the front for you, Kat. You know what I mean? And I love it.
Yeah, I completely agree. And it's again,
I just tip beer all down my face.
And it's on video, guys. If you're audio listening, you'd like to see that. We are I don't know. I actually don't know how long we've even been recording for right now. YouTube.com, something, search MX Endurance, you'll find that. I'll have to get that cut out as a promo for this week's episode. No, and I've spoken again. I don't want to. I tend to repeat myself, but again, a lot of what I've said, it's the same thing again. Like being here, seeing, like, Nicola Spirig is one of the greatest women / people to ever do this sport.
Yeah, she is without question one of the greatest triathletes of all time, and someone that has brought so much to the sport that we all love over the years. And she's been part of the most amazing finish in that Olympic Games that she won, and then backing it up with a silver, and then doing all the other things she's done. She's
when she sat down with us last night to do our interview with her, I was like in awe, to be honest. Like, genuinely, she's one of those handful of athletes that I like. Just being there, I talk about, like, and you can probably guess we're being a bit positive about this, but like Nicola Spirig is one of the. I idolize her a lot, and it's.
I was during the press conference today, and Nicola was sat there saying, I've got this many kids, I'm this old, and this is my retirement year. I want to just do this event to achieve something, just to, put that lid on my career and then call it a day. And I was standing next to Tim Don, and I turned to him and I was like, she's amazing. And he was like, she is so amazing.
She's amazing.
And it was just like, yeah, she really is. She's an outstanding athlete, and what she's achieved in her career is fantastic. And she's got a team of her own that have got a different kind of strategy to Kat's. The rumor is they're going to be not taking many turns. It's going to be fairly static on the bike. She's got an open water swimmer pacing her on the swim. Kat's got, more of a triathlete focus on the swim, and then she's got some very speciality bikers, but she's also got some triathletes in there as well. She's got Ruth Astle, who's going to be a static wheel on the front, which we can say because they let that know in the press conference today. Correct. So Ruth Astle is going to be the static wheel that Kat sat behind. So Ruth is taking more of that risk.
Also one of the best cyclists in female triathlon.
Without question. But also taking more of that risk because she's got the wheels swapping out in front of her, so she's managing that dynamic. Whereas Kat doesn't have to think about that. Yeah. I know if Ruth goes down, Kat goes down, but
they trust it again.
Yeah, exactly. It takes the decision fatigue away from Kat, because when she's sat there, all she's got to think about is Ruth's wheel. Whereas Ruth is thinking about, how the fuck do I make this change, so that when Kat gets on the run, she hasn't knackered herself out by thinking too much about those changes. I love their strategy. I love their team.
I'm gonna straight away say this one for me is a lot. I think Kat's team is going to absolutely belt Nicola's team.
Yeah, okay. We both just said how much respect we got for Nicola and how much I think she's brought to the sport. And she's a fantastic athlete, and there is every chance in this race that she may win it. But as a fan of the sport, objectively and without bias, even if I wasn't here, if I was at home, I didn't work in the industry, I'd be looking at this race and I'd be saying Kat Matthews is going to smoke this.
Like, everything you said is absolutely true. I genuinely think that the approach that Nicola's team has taken to this race is incorrect. And it is so easy for me to be sitting in a room in the lobby of the hotel.
Two blokes that have never been pro anything, never ridden in a pace line.
I've ridden in a pace line.
Yeah, but not really.
No, like, really.
Yeah, but not really.
No, but like really.
Yeah, but not really.
Like with Tour de France riders and stuff. I've done that, mate.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
I've lived that. I've lived that.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm a big deal, mate.
Bit of a big deal.
No, I've gushed over Nicola a lot this episode, but unlike the men's where I think they're both going, I don't know if Nicola's going to go under 8 hours. The crashes, and I'm not just talking about her pacing strategy and everything. I'm talking about the fact that she had a punctured lung, broken shoulder, broken ribs. She got COVID, which aggravated the rib injuries. And then I look at the pace team that she's brought in, and I don't actually think it's Nicola's decision. I think this is her coach, he who must not be named. I think it's him. I think it's his influence and his inability to progress in the sport.
I think he's got. Guy's just sat outside, so he's probably listening.
On his pipe, smoking his pipe.
Yeah.
I'm not even joking. He's literally been outside the hotel smoking. And I'm not talking like a big fuck off pipe,
like a Gandalf pipe.
Yeah, no, like a Poirot pipe. Croissant.
I believe he's got a hell of a lot of faith in Nicola Spirig, which is not misplaced.
Yeah, not misplaced.
And I believe that getting through that bike ride, doing okay, and then running Kat down is the plan. Now, I might be wrong on that. Don't get me wrong, but I believe they're underestimating the power of the dark side. No, they're underestimating Kat Matthews.
Well, firstly, Kat Matthews is one of the best runners in the sport at the moment.
Yeah,
and I understand that Nicola Spirig has I'm going to stop saying it because I've said a lot this episode. But I think Kat's team on the bike is going to put like so much time into Nicola's team that she could literally run the fastest female marathon ever and still not catch Kat's team.
Yeah, I have a feeling of that as well. Now, I don't believe in fate or jinxing, but it feels like we're edging ever close. We're really close to it right now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. I mean, again, and the thing is, and I want to make this clear, I wouldn't be upset if, I would, but like, I wouldn't be surprised if Nicola won.
The fan inside me, all right, the fan inside me would have the same reaction that I had when I watched Daniela Ryf win in Utah, which was,
it's Nicola Spirig.
Fucking hell, that's
one
brilliant.
Of the greatest of all time.
And if Nicola pulls off something here and runs Kat down and takes her the fan inside me would be like, big respect to Nicholas Spirig for that. The agent inside me would be fucking pissed.
Yeah.
but yeah, I don't believe it's going to happen. And I think both of us are on the same page on the women's race, that we believe Kat Matthews has assembled a team of badasses that is going to put her out of reach on the run. And Kat is a hell of a runner anyway, and she'd be a nice shiny new A6, and our whole team would be a nice shiny new A6, and it's going to be all nice, shiny, and brilliant.
Ace, you have to edit this part out because I'm gonna go answer the door.
Is there someone at the door?
There's someone at the door.
Oh,
so
mate.
we'll be back.
Adam.
We're just doing a podcast at the moment, so maybe another 10 or 15 minutes. Cool. Thanks. Yeah, so we're back.
Yeah, that was we had a visitor, didn't we?
Had a visitor.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, I agree with that, but I looking at everything, looking at the paces, looking at what Kat has, and the way I really just don't. I mean, the other thing that's worth pointing out about Kat Matthews and her team is what's happened to Kat as her profile in the sport in the last 6 weeks, 12.
Yeah.
I don't know, not even 6 weeks, maybe 3 months. Not just her, but some of the members of her team. Ruth Astle, 5th in the world in St George. You know, their role or position in the sport has changed. And I mean, I spoke to Christian about this yesterday when we were chatting with him. Like, when this was announced and Christian was picked, people were saying, like, why the fuck are you picking a short course athlete?
Yeah, I had this discussion with Macca today.
Yeah, why are you picking a short course athlete? And now we have people saying an Ironman athlete has no chance.
Yeah. Someone who's got 5 Ironman victories to his name, Joe Skipper, has no chance. People are saying he's got no chance against Kristen Blumenfeld. Whereas originally the narrative was, why the fuck are you picking Kristen Blumenfeld?
He's got no chance. He doesn't respect the distance. And I think that's sort of same thing we're going to see with Kat, because, I mean, when Kat signed on, she just won Lanzarote. She had the momentum, but second place in St George with by her words, a bad race.
Yeah.
Ruth Astle, 5th in the world. But then you've got the cyclists. Like, I just see, and again, Nicholas Spirig, gold medal, silver medal. But that's about it, mate. Like, from her pacing team, she doesn't have that same.
We haven't, look, full disclosure, we haven't spent as much time within the Spirig Blumenfeld teams as we have within the Skipper and the Matthews teams, because we're not part of it, and they happen to be in their own pit lane, whereas Joe and Kat are sharing a pit lane. So we're sort of in there and we're talking to them, so we can sense the dynamic easier. It doesn't mean there isn't that dynamic on the other side of the garage. It's just because we're not their experiences. We got to be honest about that, because it's not like we're spending 50-50 time and going, well, actually, it's really fucking boring over here. No one likes each other.
I've seen Christian's team. And I've seen all the teams, and I think they've got there's a real good camaraderie and stuff. Like, I think it's watching Christian's team in the breakfast and like spending some time with them and stuff. Like, I think they've got that. I think from the women's, I just genuinely think. I just think they've made the wrong choices for their paces.
Yeah.
Like, I'm trying to be as simple and straightforward as possible. I think they've made poor choices with their paces. I think the word around Christians, whether the team's not even going to want to ride those new KDX bikes because they're too slow, is an interesting development. I've heard that there's some people
they're not testing as fast as the other bikes.
Correct. So they might not be on. So if you see them on the Trinities rather than those KDX things, you know why?
Or if you see them on Sigma Sports, just don't buy them. Because they're slow and ugly.
But look,
they'd be like, buy a Ventum over a KDX. Well,
I wouldn't do that. I'd still rather the KDX over Ventum. But look, we've rambled a lot.
I would, if I had the money, I would make you a sponsorship offer you couldn't turn down. Just if you promised, and I would contractually make it so you never rode anything other than that KDX bike again. And I'd make it so much money that
I'd probably, while I dislike it, I would ride it.
No.
Where you could not offer me enough money to ride a Ventum. Like, it's not physically possible.
Really?
Yeah.
So if I was a billionaire,
maybe it was $1 billion.
If I was a billionaire and I said I'm going to pay you $1 million a year to ride a Ventum, you would say no.
I don't think I could do it.
$2 million a year.
I don't think I could do it.
Interesting.
And
it would have to be a Ventum of my choice, and I'd have it painted up like a dog having a shit.
Oh, then I would. Then I'd be on board. So look, guys, as we said at the start, we've re-recorded some excellent interviews with some excellent people this week. That's available for MX Endurance members, but for the rest of you, plebs, no, that's not true. Our other lovely listeners who support us through their listenership, which we appreciate, we're going to drop in if you're watching the press conference that was held yesterday so you'll still hear from everybody who's racing. I still think the press conferences were fantastic, so they'll hear that. And we'll
and you'll also hear a question asked by me, so you get my shiny voice.
No, not today's press conference. The Facebook Live video that was done.
Oh, mate, I don't pay enough attention, do I?
You were sitting in the room. You were sitting in the back.
Barely.
I was running the thing. So
Yeah.
there you go. Anyway, we'll be back afterwards. But if you want to, again, I'll give that afterwards. We'll be back.
Welcome to the first day of the Pho3nix Facebook Lives. We are here live at Lousetring and we have an empty chair because that was Alistair Brownlee's chair. He's not here. But the man's here, the man himself, Christian Blumenfeld. Joe Skipper's going to join us in just a second. So, buddy, you get first say. How are you feeling right now? What's going through your mind after 18 months build up to this?
Oh, it's so good to finally be here. Like as you say, it's been a long journey from being just like a dream and kind of something I was talking about, and now suddenly we are in Germany, being able to put together a really solid team and kind of done the whole preparation, and it's so good to just be a few days away.
Everyone, when I talk, everyone was talking in the background, but as soon as you open your mouth as the world champion, everyone just shuts up. How about that?
And as the
world record holder and Olympic champion. Is that how do I have to, that's a big business card for you.
Yeah, you have to put them all in.
Is that right? All right, so in what order? In what order do you put them?
I put Olympic, short distance, and then Ironman world champion.
Come on in, buddy.
Coming in 7 minutes late. Don't worry. Don't worry.
I'll be early, mate, on Sunday.
Yeah, that's good.
All right. Late to Sub7, late to the first Pho3nix Facebook Live, but first across the line. Is that the plan?
Exactly, mate. That's the plan.
All right. Well, let's talk about goal splits. Actually, before we even get to that, let's talk about your little journey you've had over the last couple of weeks. Obviously, terrible news about Alistair. As soon as you heard that, did you even hear that before you were asked to step in, or was the first you heard of it from Chris McCormack at breakfast time a few days ago?
Yeah, the first I heard about it was when Chris told me about it a few days ago. Just a couple of days ago, Chris told me it, and then at the same time they said, "Would you fancy it?" And I said, "Yeah, I'll give it a go."
How much hesitation was there? Because I think you're at breakfast, right? So were you like scrambled eggs halfway to the mouth, and then you got asked, and then you just kept eating and went, "Yeah, I'll do it," or was there like a second of hesitation? I mean, what was your thoughts immediately?
Well, it was completely unexpected, really. I was kind of like, I just thought it was a good opportunity, really, like to give it a crack. You know, I've got nothing to lose, so it was a bit of hesitation, I suppose, because you're thinking, well, I wasn't expecting this. I was supposed to be doing like a half distance the next day,
yeah.
And then he's like, "Well, just do whatever it takes to prepare for it from now, like with the racing." And I was like, all right then, and I was like, yeah. And then the more I thought about it, I thought, yeah, actually, I'm really looking forward to this. It'll be quite fun.
I've got 116 hours to prepare. I'm going to be completely fine.
Yeah.
I like it. I mean, you're kind of a guy that is just willing to take on challenges, right? And I think that when we talked about it after Alistair, obviously after the news, we were like, well, Joe, 100%, and he'll say yes, 100%. Like we knew that you would.
Yeah, and to be honest, I knew like some of the guys in the team, like I was aware of them because they're British, and I'd raced against some of them before, or like known some of them, like Dan Bigham and a few of the others. So it wasn't like I was stepping into a completely unknown team, and I knew the team was like pretty strong, and that's like, it wasn't like I had to assemble a whole new team myself, you know. So it as long as I was up for it and the team was up for it, you know, I thought, yeah, like it's a good opportunity. I've got to give it a go, haven't I? You know, like, and I think I got a good shot at doing it, like getting under 7 hours.
Is this the first time you guys have spoken?
We're
not really speaking to each other, I noticed, but like in general.
I spoke to you in the car, didn't I, the other day?
Yeah, I was training with his buddy.
Oh, okay.
In Amsterdam.
Oh, that's right. I saw him.
I bet you feel like we've set you up now, don't you? Because you were chatting to my mate and you were telling us your tactics and stuff.
Yeah, I was spying inside my group, and like the next day I found out that he's stepping in, and
it's like we planned it.
Yeah, he thinks there was a spy in his camp.
But luckily I didn't tell him everything, so we still have some tactics for
I was
Sunday.
like hitting you up, weren't I, to get a pacing job in your team, weren't I? The next thing you know, you're racing against me.
Yeah, I know. I mean, we had that video, obviously, which was fantastic, where you're like, we're going to destroy them. I can't say it on Facebook Live. And then the video of you sitting there watching it going, who's this Joe guy? How much acting was in that?
Well, I didn't know who he was. Like, I've been watching him on his YouTube and the podcast, and I just had to reply a little bit.
Yeah,
and,
of course.
But yeah, it is cool to have him stepping in now. Of course, a shame with Alistair getting injured, but it's good to. It's so much better to have a team that we are racing against and that can push us, and also know that he is getting a strong bike team who is say they will smash us on the bike, and that's obviously firing up my bike team, and they for sure want to ride fast and show that we have been practicing now 2 times a week, like on camp, different places, and coming here now very prepared, and I think we can ride fast.
The bike teams, I'm loving it, right? Because they're rivals anyway. So there's plenty of like rivalry going on between the two groups. And it must be nice for both of you to be able to buy into that rivalry and have this team behind you that really wants to do this and has committed to this so much. I mean, I guess I'll start with you, Christian, because you've been on this journey with them a bit more. Joe's been kind of on the periphery until he's just sort of Stephen Bradbury'd in. That's an Australian reference. But what do you... in terms of having those guys behind you, it must be a really different feeling to what you're normally used to.
Yeah, it's a very different way of...
Were you just timing my question?
No.
He's seen if you're hitting splits, mate.
Oh, mate, that was too long.
It was a DM on Instagram.
You get a lot of people sliding into your DMs on Instagram?
Well, to the question, it's a very different way of racing because the team is so important, and like on the swim and on the run, I will be the limited factor. Like I have swimmers and runners that can easily gap me. But on the bike, it's more how we can get the group to move as fast as possible and without giving me too much surge. Like the spikes and the power. And we've really been investing into times there to get them all dialed in and getting to trust each other, because to stay on the front like so close as you can in a TT position is something at least I'm not really used to.
Yeah, well, neither of you would be used to that. I mean, Joe, you had a couple of laps around the Alistar string yesterday and again today just before. How are you getting used to sitting on the wheel?
Yeah, it definitely takes a bit of practice, especially on a TT bike. Like I've done a bit of road racing before in the past on road bikes, but on the TT bike in... is it still going?
Yeah, keep going. I've just got to tell Tim to go and get the girls, or someone to go and get the girls to bring them
on the TT bike, it definitely takes a bit of practice because, like, with full aero kit on, it's a lot more twitchy, and you like when with all these like integrated like bars at the front, you can't actually see the wheel, so you have to like look for a reference point. Like, if my hand covers the rear mech or the rear cassette of the guy in front, am I at the right position? And then if someone on the front loses or like takes their foot off the gas a little bit, then it just like goes through the group, and then you might overlap their wheel. You've got to be like concentrating the whole time. It's definitely something I'm not familiar with, and we'll have to see if another. I've done like a couple of hours, and we'll have to see if a couple of hours more will get me good for a race day.
Well, you've only got to do it for 3 hours and 20 minutes, apparently.
For 3:15, mate. 3:15.
3:15 now.
No, I'm only joking.
3:20, and we worked it out. And when I say we, I mean our data guy worked it. That's 54 kilometres an hour. So there are teams in the Tour de France team time trial that are slower than that.
Yeah, no, I think it'll probably be a few minutes slower than 3:20.
3:23.
Maybe, yeah, something
28,
like that.
29.
What about you? I mean, like your goal splits out up to 6:47, if I correctly added it up. Yours is 7 on the knocker. Now, what do you think?
We have Joe's, and then mine is 1 minute. So
whatever Joe says, minus 1 minute.
He's definitely not put in the honest times, because I saw him and you put in a 3:45 bike, and I know that's total bollocks. Like, there's no way they're looking for a 3:45.
Yeah, we hope to be a little bit quicker, like maybe 45, and the bike we'll see on the conditions. And I think the run is more like, if I can do 2:25, I would be happy. 2:20, I would be super happy.
Not a single person I've asked about your 2:20 has said that is possible. Nobody thinks it's possible to run at 2:20.
I did 30 minutes, 3 by 10 minutes today at that pace, and it felt okay, but I was fresh. I just came from breakfast. I didn't ride 180k before, so then it felt all right, but we will see. I think if I back it off like 5-10 seconds per k, it should be more comfortable. But we will. Yeah, it's a much more unknown like way of racing, because normally you pace very even throughout swim, bike, and run, and here we will have a significant lower power on the bike, which will then increase the potential of putting the gas on for the swim and the run.
What about your swim? You've submitted a 50-minute swim time. That can't be right.
I don't think I've put it in.
That's what the team said. 50 minutes on the sheet.
Yeah, I hope you are getting like 49, and I can get like 45 now, and I think we can turn around. I think with Alistair's team, we'll probably be a little bit behind, but now we suddenly, hopefully, comes off onto the bike before.
What do you reckon your bike then?
Should I go?
What
bike
do you reckon you're going to bike? Yeah.
Oh, I can't tell. I can't tell. I've had to hide in all my sessions on Strava on the bike to not give any insights.
This is the first time you've been hiding your Strava. You're so proud about showing everyone your Strava.
Yeah, I would love to, but especially now with the speed we're going, like it's so cool to have like the high average pace, but now we will have to back it off a little bit and publish it afterwards.
So do either of you? So we're gonna have Nicola Spirig on in a minute, and Nicola Spirig she's achieved everything. So she's just like, I just want everyone to have fun, and it doesn't matter if I don't win. But you guys want to, like, surely if you go 6:59 and you go 6:58:50. Is this a loss for you? You're the second fastest time in history.
Because I want to try and beat him, and I think like his bike team told me that they're only planning on going 50 k's an hour, so he's going to be at a right deficit starting the run. So
he's going to get lapped.
He's going to need that 2:20 marathon.
Yeah. I love you. I'm glad we got you. You're great.
So I hope it did feel comfortable.
Imagine sitting next to the Olympic and world champion and world record holder and go.
You've got another 2 hours to do off the bike on Sunday. So make sure you keep your feet rested up and get the massage going on and everything.
Yeah. So we will see. We are not here just to have fun, like we can.
You don't know what to say.
He's trying to keep it under wraps, but he doesn't want to tell us what his bike team's.
But we are here to obviously try to win the race, and we don't want to be 6:55 and be second. So we will try to go fast, and if I need to, I think I can go quite fast in the marathon. But
don't save your legs on the bike though, mate, because I'd hate for you to have to close a huge gap.
I don't want to. I don't want to. I would, like I said, George, I don't want to be 5 minutes down and because we stress out. So I would like to be.
But that's why you won, St. George, because you didn't stress out and you stuck to the game plan, no? Or how far away from your race plan did you go?
5 minutes.
5 minutes away.
Yeah, I had a terrible swim in St. George.
Yeah, I was going to mention.
I was in the middle of no man's land and kind of was saved by Camworth there on the bike.
So Strange to do that for you.
I shouldn't have been in that position there. So hopefully I can have a better swim in on Sunday and be in a more.
Did you take him out for a meal afterwards, Cam?
I should.
Because you owed him a meal after that. I watched that race.
He forgot his running shoes, so we gave it back to him instead of keeping them.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. I like it. So we've got one guy here who's come in 8 days to go, will say anything that he wants to say and doesn't care one little bit about whose nose he puts out a joint. And the other guy who's the Olympic world champion and world record holder who has this very specific look on his face when he wants to say something and ends up not doing it. He's like, yeah, we will see what happens in the race.
I was trying to get Gustav to come in as a pacemaker.
Yeah,
I think he's coming in. I think he is coming in. He's flying in late.
Yeah, so I asked him straight away because he told me like, he will be running for me.
He is going to run
like,
for
oh,
me.
what? So I was texting him like, you're coming to Germany, and he said no.
What? He hasn't told me that. He told me it was a long training day.
Yeah,
he said he was coming to pace me.
But he would rather run in the mountains than on the track.
Yeah, I know, but he said this is a big occasion, and we'd love to get one over on you.
Gentlemen, thank you very much for your time. I'm going to swap you out for the women are waiting in the wings. Christian Blumenfeld, Joe Skipper. Make sure you get your questions in. We'll hit them up again later in the week. Come on, don't leave me out here by myself. We're still live over here. Nicola Spirig, come on down. Kat Matthews, come on down. There's going to be a little bit less testosterone in this one, I imagine. Hello, guys. Thank you. Jump in. Nick, we'll start with you. And I asked you this yesterday, and it's on YouTube already, but for those who haven't seen it, how are you feeling physically? You've had a bit of a journey over the last 4 months or so, and just a little minor punctured lung, not a big deal, but how are you feeling?
Yes, I'm feeling much better than in February. The broken collarbone is healed, the ribs are almost healed, the lung is long healed, so that's all really good. I had some other minor problems, but now I'm feeling pretty healthy, pretty fit, and almost ready to go.
Yeah, you wouldn't say that you were unfit anyway, because the rival is going to steal history away from you, is sitting right there. Kat, you come from such a different place in terms of where you were in your career, what your goals probably are, and you also come off an incredible result in Utah. So congratulations on behalf of all of us here on what you did there, and now to turn it around 4 weeks later. There's a lot of racing, a lot of big moments coming for you one after the other. How are you feeling?
Thanks. Yeah, I'm feeling okay. I've been riding the sort of will I feel good wave. Will I feel good? When will I feel good wave after Utah? And yeah, it's come round. So hopefully the last couple of days have been really good, and without doing the whole like, yeah, I feel great thing, like I think it'll be good.
You can buy into the whole Joe Skipper vibe if you want. You can be like, yeah, I feel great, I'm going to dominate, I don't care who you are. I like it.
I think for this event it will genuinely be more about the team effort on the bike. So we'll see how that affects us as in the run legs, but it'll be more about the time we can take out of that bike leg.
Let's talk about the bike leg, because today I was going past and I was like, oh, here comes a team time trial train. And is that someone on a road bike? If this is not the time to use a TT bike, Nicola Spearing, when is?
Well, that's not the time because I can draft. The other girls you saw have a TT bike, so the ones are leading have a TT bike. That's definitely the case. But I can just sit behind and draft, and I have to save my legs for the run. So,
is there a benefit? Because as Joe said, when you're in the TT position, you've got to take visual reference. So are you better at holding the wheel because you've got better visibility?
I think I can ride closer on the wheel of the person in front of me on a road bike, yes, and I think I can run off the road bike better than on a TT bike.
Yeah, well, you've done it so many times, and it doesn't matter what distance you can do the job, and you've showed us that many times. So, but in the bike, I mean, we talked a lot about it, but it's going to be where the time's going to be made up in a large chunk. Where we all think that. What's your, I guess, strategy? What can you give away in terms of where you're going to be sitting, how you're going to be swapping out your pacemakers, how many pacemakers? Is there any information you can give us there?
I have 8 pacemakers on the bike. We had the first real training today, and it was really cool. It's very nice to have a team. Kat is laughing. It's a really nice feeling to just sit behind and have that speed without going flat out. So I think that's a new experience. And yeah, I just have fun, and I was amazed. I think it's going to be a fast course, even if there is some wind, even if there is maybe not the perfect place 100%, but it was really fast. I'm really happy with my pacemakers. We are still figuring out the last bits of the tactics, and I think we will have different plans for race day, just depending on how everyone is feeling, how the wind is, etc. But it's coming together nicely.
You didn't say a single thing then. You should be politics after this. That was like a good 1.5 minutes, and I was like, oh, yeah, she's not saying anything. Not saying anything at all. Kat, how's your political answer? Can you give us one?
We're going to do the same.
Yes, I totally agree.
Same tactics.
But you've got. Tell us about your team. I mean, who's in it? I mean, we've got to educate people still. I mean, it's all up on the socials and stuff. But who's in your bike group? Who are you going to be swimming with? Who are you going to be running with? Who are you excited about having in your team?
Everyone. So we have 6. We're talking about the bike leg specifically at the moment.
You're the boss. You're the vice chairman. You talk about whatever you want.
Not quite the boss.
You're the vice boss.
So swim, I've got 2 triathletes, both excellent swimmers, SJ Walker and India Lee. And then the bike, as we were just saying in detail, I've got 6 cyclists, so pure time trialists, 3 of who worked together in a team time trial format before already, which was quite a key element to this. So they've already practiced.
Not without you.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. But
was that trash talk? Was that a little bit trash talk? Just a little bit. It's working. It's coming. You wait till Friday. Oh, it'll be good. Anyway, please carry on. I dare not interrupt.
Yep. And then the other 3 as well forming a team. So we've got sort of 2 mini teams of 3, and then we were going to have 1 or 2 triathletes sat in front of me behind them, and they're going to provide the power for the majority of the bike leg. We're going to switch in and out to make sure that they can go. Basically, they need to go all out to make us go as fast as possible, because we're at the back at the moment cruising along at 47, 48k an hour, and we're just breaking into a sweat, so it's going to be fast.
Did you hear that? 48 k's and
sounds
just
great.
breaking into a sweat. What speed were you doing out there?
44.
Oh,
If
you already know?
Yes, it was 41 and a half.
Oh,
and
really? Are you okay? Well, I guess that kind of leads us into the goal split time. So, have you been a little conservative with 7:54? So when Lucy Charles was part of the attempt, and she's still part of the attempt, she's just not racing, but she was like, I want to break, Jan Frodeno's record, which was at the time 7:35 or whatever it was. And then Kat comes along and goes, I'll do 7:30. And then you're like 7:54. So is this just like I've been down this road 100 times, I've got all the experience, I'm not going to shoot for the stars, or are you just being conservative publicly?
No, I think it's still a huge challenge to break 8 hours. As I said, my preparation hasn't been perfect. I'm honest about that, and obviously, if you have broken bones in the lead up, it's not perfect. So I think it's still a huge challenge. I do think the bike could be a bit faster than estimated, but as Kat already mentioned, that's not only up to me, but also up to the team. So it depends on the wind, it depends on the team and how they're working together. For the run, I still think a 2:45 running that speed after a bike, even if hardly breaking into a sweat, but it's still 180k. It's going to be fast. It's going to be hard. So I will keep my estimated time, and if it's faster, I will be really happy.
Any change for you, Kat, in the 7:30 that you came in with? As you know, it's hard when you just ask for splits. But now, having had a bit of time here, what do you think?
I'd just like to add, I guess, the caveat to my predicted splits are that we have very good and optimal conditions on the bike.
Yeah, I mean, if it's galing winds and raining sideways, maybe 7:32.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. I mean, I'd tolerate that.
But in perfect condition, I mean, we've had 2 days of pretty nice conditions here so far, and it looks like it's going to be a little bit warmer for race day, and maybe there might be a little bit of rain around, but hopefully it stays away. If it was perfect conditions, do you still stick by 7:30, or do you think that there's more time there or less?
Yeah, the trouble is, and I'm going to do the diplomatic answer, is that by breaking sub-8, we are breaking history.
That's true.
So if we start talking about 7:30, people underestimate or devalue the sub-8.
This is true.
And so I am absolutely not devaluing sub-8 in any way. But if it was the perfect conditions and I feel good getting off the bike, I think there's a possibility that I could go 7:30.
With a run, how quick?
So
keeping in mind that old.
So this is not just me plucking
a
number out.
2:45, not old in age.
So much respect for
Old
Nicola and your
We're
running.
we're the same age, and I feel old, so therefore you also are old.
No comment. Sorry. So I've run a long marathon off a bike in 2:49. I feel like with 30, 40 watts less, why not aim for a sub 2:45? And on a flat course, again, with like completely optimal conditions, why not aim towards the bottom end of the 40s? I'm in this.
To the high 30s.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's probably taking the piss.
As a man who has never run a marathon, why not aim for sub 2?
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, guys, I won't take any more of your time because we're really up to the half an hour. I really appreciate you coming in. Enjoy the next couple of days, soak it all in, and hopefully we'll be speaking to each other on Sunday afternoon with a couple of sub-8 times the fastest in history. How does that sound?
Sounds good.
Great.
All right, that wraps us up. Don't forget, tomorrow, 4 p.m, same time, live stream will be the press conference where we'll be asking all the same questions but getting even more diplomatic answers from everyone except for Joe Skipper. And then the race itself, 6:30, live on sub7sub8.com. You cannot miss a minute. We've got a half-hour pre-show. We've got a fantastic 9.5-hour broadcast. We're going to bring you every single piece of data from Nicola's 2:36 marathon and everything else. Do not miss it.
Jimbo, we normally do the down low and the PTO at this point, but I don't really have anything to say about the PTO this week. I want to talk about the fact that if you go to mxendurance.com/podcast, you can get that bonus episode that we've recorded this week, which I think you're going to want, to be honest, because it was great. And it's only going to get better because we're going to be doing stuff over the weekend as well.
Yeah, there's more to come. The bonus podcast isn't constructed yet, is it? So it's going to be constructed. There's still more content that we're going to be putting in there, and it's constant. It's constant. It doesn't stop, does it?
Yeah, and again, so that one will come out. If you're listening to this, it's probably already out, and then there's going to be hopefully be more. But you also get all the other episodes we've done in the past. You get partner discounts, a whole bunch of things. It's the reason we're at this race. Well, I work here, but it's the reason you're at this race. It's the reason we're trying to go to Kona. It's the reason we're going to other things is because of the support of the people who have signed up for our podcast membership. We really appreciate it. You know, podcasting is not easy. It is not cheap. It is a whole, seeing the stuff we have. So if you like what we do, we know how many people listen to the show. We know how many people enjoy the show.
Yeah, we really appreciate it.
mxendurance.com/podcast. It's the place to go, James, if they want to find out other things. Do you know how to do it? Because
if you want to find out other things, something about Instagram, something about
if you want to find
us.
out, if you want to find out more about MX Endurance, head to mxendurance.com or search MX Endurance Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. If you want to follow James, it's at bale.james85, or you can follow me on Instagram at tford14. If you want to follow us on Twitter, just search our names and you'll find us. If you want to go to other stuff, it's, as I said before, MX Endurance. But basically, we want to say thank you guys for listening. We hope you tune in to Sub7 Sub8 this week. We can't wait for it. We hope you enjoy it. Let us know if you enjoy it. Let us know who your picks are, all that stuff.
And good luck to all the runners and riders. And let's hope that everybody finishes the race safely and in one piece, and we get to see that epic climax that we've been waiting for.
And a special good luck to Kat and Joe.
Yeah, bang on. Go on, get after it.
See you guys next week.
Cheers.